Mira's grandmother gifted her a beautiful doll when she was a child, but she always felt uneasy around it. As a teen, Mira noticed that the doll's eyes seemed to follow her around the room. One day, she decided to lock it in a cupboard. That night she heard scratching sounds coming from the cupboard. When she opened it, the doll was gone. Instead, it was sitting on her bed, staring at her, its eyes now blood red. Jack and his friends explored an abandoned mansion rumored to be haunted. They dared each other to stay inside for an hour. As they explored, Jack noticed that one of his friends was missing. They searched but couldn't find him. When they left, they saw him standing outside, waiting. Confused, they asked how he got out. Arjun replied, "I never went in." New houses often hold secrets. Like other stories you've heard about new houses, Samantha also has one. She tells that 5 years ago when she moved into an old house and had to move out within a week. In the bathroom, an antique mirror hung on the wall. Every day her reflection stared back as usual, until one day it didn't. She stood there frozen as her reflection blinked, smiled, and walked away. The next morning she found the mirror shattered, with footprints leading away from it. New apartments are scary. Nish found it the hard way when she rented a new apartment and found a strange handprint on the bathroom mirror, too high to reach. She cleaned it off, but the next day, it reappeared, larger this time. No matter how much she scrubbed, it kept returning, growing bigger each day. One night, she woke up to find the handprint on her own hand. If you're a horror fan, you're in for a treat. This old Victorian home has a chilling tale to tell. A young couple moves into an old Victorian home, charmed by its rustic allure. But on their first night, they hear soft whispers coming from the walls. They think it's just a draft and ignore it until the whispers grew louder and started calling their names. One night, driven by terror, they rip open the drywall. What they discover freezes them to their core. Their own faces carved inside. The house wasn't haunted, it was hungry. You need to watch this if you think elite parties are glamorous. Sometimes, they're not what they seem. A shy boy gets a golden invitation. Excitement floods his veins as he rarely gets invitations. He arrives early, eager to fit in. The venue was breathtaking. Glamorous people everywhere, but strangely silent. He tries to mingle, but no one speaks. The silence is deafening. Attempting to leave, he finds the doors locked. Panic sets in. Suddenly the crowd turned toward him, their eyes were glowing. Soft whispers filled the room, growing louder. They were saying, "You belong to us now. Subscribe to get new stories every day." Ever danced with a ghost? One man did, and it changed everything. He locked eyes with her from across the floor. Stunning, mesmerizing, and strange. They danced, her touch was electrifying. But when he leaned in to kiss her, his lips met cold air. She whispered, "I'm only here until midnight." And then she vanished. The next day he scoured the city to find her. And there she was, in a news article. 30 years ago.
If your door rattles at 3 a.m., you're in for a scare. Mrs. Palmer knew this all too well. The knocking had a rhythm, like a heartbeat in the darkness. Night after night, the sound grew louder, but Mrs. Palmer was too frightened to open the door, until one night curiosity got the best of her. She opened the door, only to find no one there. The knocking stopped for a minute, just long enough to make her heart race with hope. The next day, she decided to leave the house, thinking she could escape the relentless knocking. But as she closed the door behind her, an eerie realization washed over her. It was never about the house. It was always about her. This story sent goosebumps down my spine. Neil came back from college and lay in bed. He heard his mum calling him from the kitchen. He came downstairs, but there was no one in the kitchen or hall. His mum was still calling. Her voice started echoing in the house. He couldn't figure out the direction or source. Suddenly another voice came from under the sofa. "Don't go down there, honey." Neil's heart started racing. It was his mum. Who was real?
What if love never let you go? Sophia and Victor met at college. They were inseparable. Their love was legendary, and they promised to be together forever. Then came the wedding day. After the vows, both said, "I love you forever." The father whispered, "Forever is a curse, not a gift." They ignored and continued with life. Years passed, and while their faces stayed young, their love began to rot. They couldn't leave. Every day was the same cycle: passion, pain, and hatred. Desperate, Sophia tried to escape, only to find the world outside frozen. Stuck in the moment, they said, "I love you forever." Subscribe for the best stories every day.